Hey book nerds, welcome to my channel. Today I'm very excited because I am filming my ScoobyDooathon TBR. I love this idea for a readathon. So it's hosted by Simone from Me, Simone and I, Emily from Novell Novels, and Clint from Reads, I can't even say that. It's running from the 2nd of September to the 15th of September. I will link the Twitter down below, I will link the announcement videos for the channels and all that fun stuff. But it's basically a Scooby-Doo themed readathon, which is like the best idea. I grew up watching Scooby-Doo, I haven't watched it for years, but I am still pretty much obsessed with the live action movies. And I know they're kind of terrible, but they're just that perfect level of terribleness where I absolutely adore them. It's one of my favourite movies to watch with my friends, is like a drinking movie, not playing a drinking game, but just like drinking along and having a good time watching this awesome cheesy kids movie. So yeah, this is a readathon that spoke very dear to my heart. I've got another readathon taking place this month, and I've got all my Snakes and Ladders prompts and all the other usual end of year goal stuff going on, but I was definitely going to take part in this readathon. So I'm going to go through the prompts and I'm going to tell you which books I'm reading. So the first prompt is Scooby, and that is to read a book either beginning with R or the author's name starts with R, either the surname or the first name. This was actually a struggle because I think R is the letter that I have the least number of books beginning with, but thanks to my Snakes and Ladders TBR video, I have Reflection on my TBR, which is a Disney twisted tale. This one is by Elizabeth Lim, I believe. The Disney twisted tales are essentially fanfic versions of the Disney story, so they'll change a key detail. So this one says, what if Mulan had to travel to the underworld? My best friend has read them and she adores them. They're kind of like trash, but great trash, just like the Scooby-Doo movies. They're so relevant. This is the Mulan one, obviously, so I'm really excited to finally get around to starting and reading one of these. She's read about 4 of them now. I bought a bunch for her birthday last year, and she's been begging me to read them so I can kind of share in the craziness of the story. So this book is also fulfilling the next prompt, which is Shaggy, which is to read a book in your best friend genre. I've decided to go with a real life best friend for this, and a couple of my best friends in real life, their favourite genre is like young adult fantasy, but more specifically this friend loves these Disney books, so I'm going to count this as a fantasy book and a Disney book. So the next prompt is Velma, which is to read a book with a genius protagonist. I was really struggling with this one, and then I think it was Simone's video, she mentioned rereading Matilda. And I adored Matilda, shockingly, as a child, by Roald Dahl, in case you don't know. This is a kid's book about a genius girl who loves to read, and her family are terrible, and she starts school, and the head mistress is awful, but her teacher's really lovely, and she has psychic powers. Just throwing that in there. So I decided I would reread Matilda because it's literally been years and years and years, and it's a nice short book that I can read around everything else. So this is also fulfilling challenge number 6, which is Scrappy, which is to read a book less than 200 pages. I haven't actually checked, but it's a kid's book, so I'm going to assume it's less than 200 pages. And the next prompt is Fred, which is to read a book with blue and white on the cover. I've decided to go with Thin Air by Michelle Paver. I'm reading this anyway as part of Monsterathon. This is a ghost story about a group of people who are climbing the highest mountain in the Himalayas in 1935. And as they climb higher and higher, spooky stuff starts happening. It is a ghost story, it says so on the cover. It is very much white and blue, and yeah, and this is perfect that it's slotted into this. This is also going to be the next prompt, which is Daphne, which is to read a book that was a cover by. This wasn't entirely a cover by because I do love the author. She wrote one of my favourite kids book series. I've not read any of her adult stuff, but I absolutely adore this cover. If you can see in the light, it's got the little snowflakes going around, and I did buy it because it's pretty, if I'm honest with myself. So I might also pick a different book on a whim that is a cover by if I find out that I'm really ahead of my TBR, because this is quite an easy TBR for me, touch wood. They're quite, Reflection is the longest book, but it's written in a really easy to read style. So if I have time, I might pick another book to be the cover pick. So I just want to say I'm not reading it, but Meddling Kids by Edgar Cantero is the group book. I strongly recommend reading this if you've not read it. I only read it 3 months ago now, which is why I'm not gonna reread it because it's a bit soon for me. I really enjoyed this book. It was slightly disappointing, but only because I had such high expectations for it. So this is a horror book about essentially the Scooby-Doo gang. The names have been changed to avoid copyright, but it is effectively the Scooby-Doo gang. Only they're now all grown up, and their last case that they solved has kind of something never seemed quite right about it. And then in the modern day, one of them has been in prison, one of them has been in a mental institution, and one of them is dead. The Fred character is dead, so they all kind of team up as these dysfunctional adults to find out what happened with the last case that they solved that was never quite right. But yeah, it's such a fun book. It's perfect for this readathon, so I definitely recommend taking part, and I do really want to know people's thoughts if you are reading this group book. Add me on Twitter, and like if you want to talk about it, I'm always up for talking about it. So yeah, so that is my TBR for the ScoobyDooathon. I hope you're taking part. It's genuinely such a fun idea. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. It helps me out massively, and I hope to see you next time.